Okay, in this video, good day. In this class, we are going to be building a complete website with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This is going to be a beginner website. It's going to be a beginner website, and some of the things that the website is going to have is that it's going to have the menu bar. You can see it at the top, a menu bar, and it's going to have the home, about all services, portfolio, contact us, info. This website is a one page and also a multi-page website. It's a one page because all of this home, about us, you can see that as I'm clicking on them, it's just scrolling to the sections. So it's a website that has one page, and this info has to be another page, though there's no information in that info, but it is another page. When you check at the top here, you will see that we have info.html. so that is what makes the website a multi-page website, and that's how to create a multi-page website. If I should go back to home now, it will scroll back to home section. Let me go back to this info and let me click on portfolio. It will take me back to home and scroll straight to picture work. So all of these things is what we are going to do, and this website has about 8 sections. We have the logo side, which is the menu side, then followed by the hero sections, followed by the about us section, making 3, then the expertise area, making 4, the feature work, making 5, the just say hello, this one also is also a section on its own, making 6, then the contact us, making 7, and then the footer level, making 8. So now, before you start creating any website, after a UI UX has done their own design, what you need to do is to analyze whatever they send to you, analyze it and know what you have, in the sense that know the numbers of sections that the site will take before you start designing. And I must say this, that there are diverse ways of achieving whatever you want to achieve. We are not this is not the only way you can do it. There are diverse way of doing it. So it depends on the way that you know. That is what you are going to use to do it. So now I have my folder here that I will use. This is the folder for the work on its own. This is what I show you. This is the folder, but I have another folder that we are going to use here. We have in this folder, I use 3 CSS here in this file. Let me go back to the final work. This is the final work. You can see I have 3 CSS. I have main.css, mobile.css, feature reset.css. The reason for this is just to organize my design. To make it more beautiful. That is the reason for this CSS, and it's very simple to do. You can also have 3 CSS. You can have more than 3 CSS. Reason for all of those things is that when you are creating your website, so that you will know where the error occur on your website or where the error does not occur. That's why we make use of those CSS folder to structure the file. I have a reset. I use the reset for the primary colors, all the colors that I use, all the fonts that I use. I use reset for that, and I use reset to structure all my fonts that I copied that are not on the VS Code. So that is what I just use my reset for. Then the main.css, that is where I design all of the file, all of my ID and ID, then followed by class, all of those things. This is where the design is. Then I now have I have mobile.css. Rather, that menu is not part of it. I have mobile.css. That is what I use to define the phone format. I only design the phone format of the website and the desktop. I didn't design the tablet format. So let's go straight to what we are doing. Now you can see we have only two HTML files. We have index.html, then we have info.html. This info.html is the second page that we have, while the index is the only page for all the websites. So this is what we want to create. Let's move straight to our new folder. This is the folder that we are using now. We have main.css. I've created the main.css. I've created the mobile.css. I've created the reset. But for the benefit of those that may not understand how we created them, let me just copy my reset here and try to erase this folder. Delete. Let me delete them. Let me delete this. Now this is what we are going to do. What we need is that, you see all this font. Let me open the folder for you here so that you can see. Now this is the folder of my document that we want to work with, and in this folder I have created some folder. I created a CSS folder. This is where all my CSS file will be. I created the font folder. I downloaded all these fonts on the internet, then I use it on the website. Then I have all my images. These are the images that we use. I have saved all of those images. Then I have my index.html. Then I have my JavaScript file. So that's what we are having here. That's what you are seeing here. So now in the final work we have 3 CSS. We have 1, 2, 3. So we are going to create all those 3 CSS before we start in our main work here. You go to the CSS folder, you right click on new file. I have my main.css. Then I right click again, new file. I have my reset.css. Then again I have my mobile.css. Now after that, under this reset, I will have to copy all of those reset settings that I have done. Don't worry, you can see it in the script file. When I send the file, you can see it there. So I have to copy all of those things that I have done. So I copy them and I paste it on the folder. What is just there is that I have my body, the body design of my HTML of my browser. I define it. Then the HTML school behaviors, I define that one. That means if I should click on this home, I want it to scroll down. Let me come back to the final work here and show you, because we have it at the final work. If I should come to the reset here and remove HTML school behaviors, let's save. And let's come back here and click on home. You can see that this thing is not scrolling again. It's just moving straight away from one section to another. That is the work of HTML school behavior. So that is what it does. So let me return it back and let's see again. Let's see what you're having. So you can see, so I think that one has tell you the work of HTML school behavior, what is there. So having done that, I do a text decoration none. Then I have some root document that I will use constantly in my design. Then I have font size that I will also use constantly. All of those things I have defined, all of those fonts in the root document. Then all the fonts I downloaded, I call them out using the font family of CSS. Then I define some button style that I will use. I have about 4 buttons that I will use constantly. Then my image, I make it max width 100, max height auto. So all of those designs are just basic because I will keep using them. Then I have the animation school container, the one that I will use for the scrolling effect. I have that animation, the one that I will use for scrolling. This particular one at the top that you are seeing that is scrolling is animation. So I have the animation, and I also have yes, I have the animation. This is the animation also. So I have the keyframe also to track the animation, so I have them here. So those are the basic settings that I have that I will do. So now after I've saved the basic settings, I come back to my index.html. So I will have to delete this and start all over. I will delete all of these things, then I will start all over. I will start all over because let me continue because of the time of the video. So now I have my index.html. The index.html, I link all my CSS file at the top. I link them at the top. Once I link all the CSS file at the top, then I come to the body. I start with my first design, which is my menu.container, which is, let's open this one now in a new file at the internet. So this is it. I start with menu.container. This is my menu.container. Then after that, after I start with menu.container, then followed by my, okay, I start with menu.container. This is the main container that we take all of my menu details. This main container that I have white and I have a shadow here is the main container. That's what I use as the main container. This white you are seeing is the main container. So I have that. After I use that one, then I have my logo div inside. At the same time, I have another div which is nav container div, and at the same time I have this nav menu icon. You will not see this on the desktop. You will not see it on the desktop here, but when I comes down to the mobile, you will see it. This is it, this particular 3 button. So I use 3 span to do that. So when I use it, I remove it on the desktop, I leave it on the mobile. So when we get to CSS design, that's how we are going to be doing all of those things. We are going to be removing that. So now after that, I want to explain the one we have here before we go straight to designing others. So after I have my menu, then I come to the hero section. This hero particular place you are seeing, this place from the bottom of the white up to this level, up to this download CV level. So it's my hero section. So in that hero section also, what I have in the hero section also, I have another hero new container. So this container is used to as the main container for the hero sections. Then after the main container, in the final work here, I have two sub container inside the main container. One container will be used for this test, while the other container will be used for this image. In other words, I have them placed left and right of each other. So this one will carry one, this one will carry one. So we have 2 other container inside this main container. So that is why we are having it here. That's why we are having the hero container content left. Inside this hero container content left, then we have all of these tests that you are seeing here. We have all of those tests. And we have hero container content right. We have all of these tests. That is the image, and all of them, they are inside the main hero section. They are inside the main hero section. That is the design for that one. That is what you are seeing here. Though we have not styled it here, we are going to do the styling. Then after that also, we move straight to about us section. In the about us sections, we have about container. You can see that all of them having container. I use container for all of them. All the design, they are having container. All of them are having container. So I have, so where is the about us container? We have the about us container also. But before that, where I will come back to all of those things. So we have the about container. Now in this about container also, we have from the about container here, this is the main container. Then we also have about container left, we have about container right. Now in this about container left, we have only image. In this about container right, we have only text. this about us is the same thing as this hero section. It's just that the details that are there are different and their design are different. It's just the same thing. At the hero section we use text first, then image right. But at the about us section we use image first and text right. So that is what we are having here. Then we have the about us container. Then inside the about us container we have the about us container left. In this about us container left, we only have image. You can see that it is only image that we have here. We only have image. Now after we have the image, we come straight to the about us container right. You can see it here. So from the about us container right now, we start designing all our text. Now we have the heading first, then we have the P text, the P paragraph text, which is what we are seeing here. About me, Lorem Ipsum. After that we have my skill. Now there's another design here. After my skill, after this my skill, from this place to this place, you can see that we have another class. We call it about skill box. Inside the about skill box we have about skill box left. Inside that about skill box left we also have another class that we call skill box container. Inside that skill box container we also have another class that we call skill box item. Now inside that skill box item we have what we call the H5 graphics design, H3 85%. Then inside that div class again we have that one. We close the div of this one here, the skill box item. Then we now have another div class, skill box school. Then we define that one, and what we do is that we now close all of these skill box container. We close them here, and we duplicate the skill box container into 3. After we duplicate it into 3, then we now have our button. Once we have our button, then we close the whole skill box container. About skill box left, we close all the containers. Skill box left here, all of these things, we close it at this stage. Then we now have another box, the same thing at the top. We duplicate it. So what we are doing there is that in these particular sections here, we are going to display this one as flex, because we want to display it as flex. So we want each of them to have three skills with one box with one button, another one 3 skills with one button. So that's what we do. So we create the main div for all of them, the main div that we turn to flex. We created it. Then after that we now create a small div for each of these one, this graphic design, WordPress, front end. We have them inside a small div, so that by the time we are turning them to flex, it won't scatter the work. Then after that we now have a div for this particular one here, graphic design at the top. We have a div for it. We have a div for the scrolling bar at the bottom. That's why you are seeing this particular div here. That's why you are seeing this particular div that you are seeing here. Let me use this one. Now we have skill box container. Now we have a skill box item, graphic design, and 85%. That is the skill box item. Then we also now have skill box school. That is for the scrolling effect. The reason is that so that it won't give us an issue. So that is how we have all of these things. So after we have done that, we move straight to the next one, which is the expert area. Now in that expert area also, expert area and sorry, I'm coming. The expert area, so after this, when you check our website, I just updated the file. Now we don't have the document yet. So the expert area, in the expert area, so in the expert area also, what we have at the expert area is just the image, the portfolio of our work. That's what we have. That's what we call the services. So what we do: WordPress, front-end, graphics design. Then we also have all other things: video editor, backend developer, training facilitator. So that's what we have at the expert area. Now at the top we have the expertise area, then brief features of our expert areas. Now how do we achieve this? Don't forget that all of them, they have main container. From here to this place is the main container, but there is a design at the bottom. I will show you how to do that. From here particularly to this place, before the curve of this one is the main container, but we can call the curve also the container, because it's a design that we use CSS to do. So we want to focus much on all of those designs very soon. So now we don't have all of the design here. So how do we achieve this particular expert area? Then what we do here is that at the expert area here, we have our expertise container. When we have the expertise container, we give it a ID of services. The reason for the ID is so that when we click on it here, it can scroll straight to the expertise area. That's why we use the ID for all of those things. We use the IDs to do that. So we give it an ID of expertise container. Now when we give it that ID, we have the H1. We have the H1 expertise area, and that H1 is what we use for this. Then we also have I think this one is H5, as we are seeing it here. We have the H6 for brief features. Now after we have done that, that one is still very simple. Now we come back to this particular place that you are seeing here. That is where the design starts. That's where the major of the design starts. Now in that place we have what we call expertise box as the class. We design a class. Let me do something so that you can understand some of these things very well. Let me go to my main.css. Let me go to my main.css and look for expertise. Let me look for expertise here. Expertise design. Now we have the expertise design here. Let me now look for expertise box and give it a let me just try and give it background white. Now you can see that when I give it a background white, you can see that we have a background white. So this is the box. This one is also a mini container inside another container. So after the expertise area, expertise brief features of our area, something after that one, then we now have another div, another container inside that container. It's like we have another box inside the container. So we use that box for all of these tests, because we are going to turn the test into flex and we don't want it to affect the main container. So that's why we use the box like this. So we have that box, that is the expertise box that you see. Then after the expertise box that you see, then we now have the box area top. The box area top, inside the box area top we have 3 different box. Let me come back here also, though I don't have the box area bottom anyway. So let's continue. We have the box area top. Inside this box area top now, we now have another box design. The box area top is what, okay, let me use this box area top. Let me come to main.css. This is my box area top. box area top. Let me give it background red. Now let me see something. Okay, let me just give it, let me do it this way. I want you to see what I'm trying to explain here. Dot box area top and choice one. This is what I'm trying to say. You can see that I have a red background now at the box area top. I don't have the red background at the box area top bottom. So the reason why it fooled all of the content before is because I make use of the same box area top for the bottom, because I'm still defining the same thing. I just want to make sure that I have 3 items at the top, I have 3 items at the bottom. There are other ways to do this type of work. I can equally use one box area, then I will now use flex wrap for it. That's why I said there are different ways to do all of those things that you are achieving. So you are the one to tell us how to achieve that. So this is not the only way to do it, but because we are using a beginner way, that's why we are doing it this way. That's why we are doing it this way. So the box area is used to take each of these area, each of these small box. So we use it to do that so that we can turn it to flex. We can turn it to flex and it won't affect our work. So we don't need this one again. So now after we have the box area top, inside this box area top, you can see I have a comment here, box design start here. So we now have each of the box design. We have another small div, we call it box area. We give it 2 classes. The first class is box area because all of them is going to have the same design, the same size. It's going to have the same box area. Then we now have box 1 for all of them. 1 will be box 1, 2 will be box 2, this one will be box 3, like this one is box 1, box 2, box 3. Because of the CSS design, that's why we are having it like that. Box 4, box 5, box 6. But all of them are going to have the 4th CSS design, and because of the animation because of the over effect, because of the over effect, we are going to use their box to do the design. So inside this box 1, we have the image. We define the image at the top. After the image, we define the text, WordPress. Then after that, we define the little information about the work. We define it here. So that is why we are seeing all of these things, all of them inside this box. And the same thing, we are going to double this one also. We duplicate it into 3 rather. This is the second one, and this is the third one. This is the third one. After this one, now this is the third one. Then we close our box area top. This box area top, we close it at the bottom. This particular one, you can see where the arrow starts from. You can see I have organized the file so that we can see it very well. Where it starts from, let's see where it starts from. Let's see where it starts from here and it ends here. You can see it that all of these files, they are adjusted inside so that we can see the main div very well. So that is how to do that. Now we copy this particular one, this particular box design. You can see that we also have box area top at the bottom also, because I'm using the same box area top. So we now have this one, we have it at the bottom. We have it at the bottom with the class of box area, and some also have box area 2, box area 1. The reason why I have box area 2 and 1 is because of the CSS design here. You can see that this one is having, like, this number 1 is having the same design as number 4 and 5. I mean number 5 and 6 rather. While number 2, 3 and 4 is having the same design. So that is the essence of this second class we are seeing here. Box 2, box 2, box 1 that you are just seeing in this place. So that is for the expert area. That's how to do the design for the expert area. Then after we have done that, then we move straight to what we have, which is the we have what you call the design container. this design container is this particular one you are seeing here. What make it to the curve? This curve that we achieve here is another small box on its own, but we place it inside the we have it also after the main services container. After this container, after this expert container, we are going to have a small container that we are going to use to turn it to design. We are still coming there when we get to CSS. We understand that. So now we now have our portfolio, which is feature work. So this portfolio also is almost the same thing. Portfolio also, we have its own main container, which is the white color you are seeing here. This white background is the main container for the portfolio. Then after that, we have the feature work and the little information about the feature work, like we have it at the services here. This same thing we have here, we have the same design here also. If we check it, we discover that they are the same thing. The fonts are not different, the size are not different, so it's almost the same thing. But now in this particular one also, don't forget that I said we have one div, we have one container here. In this container we also have two containers. We have one container that we use to wrap all of these posts together. Then we also have two small containers, the one we use for the top and the one we use for the bottom. Then in this portfolio also, we have a main container that we are going to use for the whole design. Let me come back and search it so that we can give it color also. You will understand. We have grid, this particular grid, feature grid container. Let me search for it here. Feature grid container, feature grid container, feature grid container. Feature grid container, let's give it background black. Now let's come back and see. You will discover that when I give it background black, there is a black design. Let me change it to yellow so that you can see it very well. Let me change it to another color. Now when I change it, you can see that there is a background there. There is another background here that wrap all the works together. That is the container. That container is what we are going to turn to grid. That is the main container for the grid design. That is our main container. Then after that, now have other small container. Let me come back and remove the background. After that, we now have other small container that we are going to use for each of the box. And in this small container, what we are going to do is that we are going to have this. Let me use this one to explain now. This particular one you are seeing here is going to have one main container, one main box. Let me use box so that we can understand it. It is going to have one main box, and that box is going to have two additional box inside. One is going to have one main box. That one main box is going to have two additional box inside. Those two boxes, we are going to use one for image, one for text, but all of them is going to be inside the main box that you are seeing it. Now this is what I'm trying to explain. After we have our main feature grid container, then we are going to have a grid box. This grid box now, this is our, don't let me use this one because this one is for all of them. All of them have a class of grid box. Now we are going to have a grid box 1, a grid 1. Inside this class of grid 1, this is the class of grid 1. You can see that it starts from here, it ends here. We are going to have two different box also. We are going to use one to wrap the image, and we use one for the text. That's what we have here. We have one for the image, we have one for the text. So all of these now, they are small box inside this main box you are seeing, inside this box that is showing white, that is all of those box. So now we do that for the first one. After you have done the first one, you copy it also up to 6. You copy it. This is the second one. This is the second design. This is the second design. Up to 6. Up to 6, because we have 6 different class. We have we have 6 different box. Up to 6. Up to 6. Then after we have done that, we have done the 6. We also have another design. You can see that this one also curve. There's a curve here at the top. There's a curve here. So we have that design also to achieve the curve. This is the curve design. Then that is the curve design. After we have done the curve design, we move straight to just say hello. In that one, we don't have too much of things to do. We don't have too much of things to do. So this one is just a one line design that you can just write. So what we have here is we have a container for say hello. Then we have a P paragraph for have you have any project in mind, just say hello. Then after that one, we now have a button class that we have already designed before. Then we wrap that one. That is the end of that one. Then we move straight to contact us page. Now in this contact us page, we have its own div, also its own main container, which is this white. White is the main container of this contact us page, not this one that at the bottom. White is the main container. So we just use CSS to do some design here. Now we use this white as the main container. After that, we now have this is what we have here. We have it side by side also. We have the container, contact container. After the contact container, we have the contact container content, which is the left side. We have the contact container content, which is the left side that you are seeing here. This content that you are seeing here, we have it. We have that one in its own box. In its own box. This is the contact container content. We have the contact container content left. That left, we now have the contact container left text, contact container left address. We gave them, we put all of those things inside different div so that they can have their own class. Then after that, we have the contact container content right. So all of these things now, we have the, you can see this line. This is what you will use to understand where the div start and it ends. This line, we have the contact container content. So the line starts from that place and it ends here. It ends here. Now the reason for that is that because we have a design here, you can see that this form is at the top of this cream color, and the main container is this white. Now the contact container content is all of these text you are seeing. All of these text from this text left here up to the form is the contact container content. This particular one we are seeing here. This contact container content we are seeing. Contact container content. So inside this contact container content, we now have the left contact container content left. That's what we use for the text. That's what we use for this text, all of this text, and that one ends here. It ends here. Before we now define the form, you can see that at the top, before I start writing the form, I have a comment here that shows that this is where my form starts, and I use contact container content right for the form. That's what I used for the form. And after that, the next thing I do is that I begin to write my form. This is my form here. I write the form. Don't worry about all these inputs. All these inputs you are seeing, we are not using it. Don't worry. about all of those input form. So we are only using the last one. So all of those, we only use this one to do the form validation. Like for instance now, if I come to contact us and I click on contact, you can see that it shows a color here. So we use this particular span here to show the validation of those colors. That's what we use it for. Then after we have done the design like that, after you have done the structure of the HTML, then the next thing is that we close our contact form content. We close our contact container content. We close everything. This contact container content, we have to close it here. We close everything here for the contact container content. So all of the text, we place them inside this contact container content. We close it. Then we now have another one that we call contact container back. That one, nothing is inside. It's just a div. It is just an ordinary div, and that ordinary div is this cream color you are seeing here. We are going to place it at the bottom. So that is what we are having there. Then before we have the footer design, this footer design is just a one-line design also, that we have footer container, then we have the h3, then h5. So that is the end. And after that, we link our JavaScript. You are going to link your JavaScript to the whole thing. So that is the HTML structures of the website. That is how we write the HTML structure of the website. So now that is not where we are going precisely. So we have explained everything about the HTML structure. And there's one thing I don't explain about this HTML structure. When you come to this nav container, you will discover that some link were having hyphen, some were having hash, while only one have slash another name. So now, to do a multiple page website, what you do is that you link your website to another page that you have created. When you come to my file here, we have to create another folder that I will call info.html. Now when I have this folder, now if I want to link my page to another page, what I will just do is just to come here and click on slash, then look for that particular page that I'm linking my website to. Once I look for that page that I'm linking my website to, then it will load to that page. This one, whenever I'm using hash, it means that I'm trying to locate a page. I'm trying to go to a section that is on the page I'm working with. I'm trying to go to that section quickly. That is the essence of that hash. That is the essence of this hash you are seeing here. But when it comes to you want to link it to another page, if I should click on this info now, it will take us to another page. You can see when it comes to you want to link it to another page. Let me go back. Let me do something and delete every details in that info. Let me delete the details in the info. Let me delete all the details and leave only the let me delete all of them. So now this is about us now. If I should click on info now, you will discover that we don't have anything in the info. Only the logo section we have, because there's nothing in it. So this is the info section. So if I should click on home, it will load back to the home section. But on the home section, if I should click on services, you can see that it only scroll down. That's to tell you that the page you are looking for is still on the same page but different sections. So that's how to link your website to multiple pages. To multiple pages. Now, having done that, let's come back here. So I will show you how to do this CSS that is loading. It's because I've already do the design at the let me remove the design. I've done the design under the reset. That's why we are seeing it, but I will still show you now. What we now want to do is to start styling our HTML. So this is our HTML content. These are the content of our HTML. All of those things we have explained. I have tried to include all of the images and those things so that we can fast track the work. So now let's start designing them. You can see how beautiful they look like. Don't let me say ugly. Beautiful they look like now. This one is even more beautiful than this one we're having here. Abi? So but let's try and make it ugly like this particular one. Let's try and make this one also ugly like that. So now how do we start? We come straight to the first one, which is this header section. Let's turn it to this one. This is what we want to achieve. Let's turn it to that one. So I will use this one because I have the same information. We are using the same information, nothing changed. So I will just use this one to achieve that, to start coding so that we can understand. Now we have two sections here. We have the left and right sections. We have the image part and we also have the text part. So how do we do so in order to do that now, let's start with our navigation. Let's start with our navigation. So let me just write a comment here for us to understand. Design. So we are going to start with our navigation. I think we have the menu container. So in this menu container, we give it position of fixed. We position it at fixed. After that, top is going to be 0. Right is going to be 0. Bottom left is going to be 0. After that, we have the background bar. All of the color we have used before, I think it's light white. This color here is light white, the one I'm showing here. That's what we are using. So after the light white, we have the padding 10 pixels, then 60 pixels left and right, 10 pixels top and bottom. Then we display it flex. We align the item center. Then we align. We justify content, space between, box shadow. For the box shadow, we have a shadow that has been designed before, box shadow. So our Z index, we make it like 100 so that it can be at the top. So let's see it now. So you can see that we have what we are achieving. So I think we are having mistakes somewhere. Let me come back to my reset.css and try and see the box shadow that I designed here. I don't think I get the name of that box shadow again. Sorry, it's supposed to be box border. It's going to be box border, not box shadow. So we have done that now. So having done that, we now have our link. You can see that in this one we have this icon at the right, the logo at the left, but in this one we have the logo, then we have the icon at the middle, then we have space here. The reason is because in our HTML we have another link design that we don't need at the desktop side. This nav icon, we don't need it at the desktop side, so we need to remove it here. So what do we need to do now is to come down and click on nav icon, nav menu icon. We display none. display none. So now that one has been done. Then the next thing is to now have our nav container. We have the nav container, then we give it margin right 40 pixels. So this is our nav container. This particular one is our nav container. Let's come back here and see it here so that you understand it, that is what we are talking about. You can see that we have the nav container. We have the nav container. So now after that we now move straight to our nav container. The text of that nav container, we give it a color. One of the color we have called, which is black. The black I designed, and the font style is going to be one of the fonts that we have designed. You can see that as we are doing it, it's changing. Then you give it a padding of 15 pieces just to have space. Letter spacing 1 pieces. Then transition, we use a transition. These are transitions of, we have designed the transition also. The transition has been designed at the reset.css. You can see it here. We have the transition design also. So now let's see, have we achieved what we wanted to achieve here? I'm not sure yet because we don't have the all of that things. So let's go and include all of those things that we have not achieved. So we come down again, we have nav container a over. When it is being over, we need a background that we have a gradient, the color that has been designed. All of these color I've explained them before, that they have been designed. We have the color that we show is going to be light gold. Then letter spacing is going to be 3 pixels. So now I think we have done that. That one has been achieved. So that's everything about the header. That's everything about header. And from there we move straight to our hero sections. So let's move straight to our hero section. Hero section design starts here. So from the hero section, I want to see what we have. So before I start designing, we have the text at the left, image at the right. Then the image has a box. The text also has some color. So we have the button that's already been designed because we have a button design already. So now, how are we going to achieve that? Let's come back and see some of the things that I use. That is why the class that will be easy for me to remember is okay. When you are creating your website, you must use some class that you must understand them so easily. You must understand them so easily. So now I have the hero new container. I have the hero container content left. Then I have also the hero container content right. I have the hero container at the bottom. So now how am I going to achieve all of these things? I have the H5, H6. Let's come back to our CSS and start designing this our header. So I will have the first one is hero new container. The hero new container, we have a padding 250 pixels at the top, 0 pixels left and right, 100 pixels. That's the first thing I'm going to have. Then I will now have a position relative. I'll position it relative. I'll give it a background. Let me give it a background of gradient light. Let's see. Okay. I think that is the background. The height is going to be under viewport height. Then the display is going to be flat. I'll display it flat. Then I will align the items center. After that, I will justify the content center. I think we have achieved part A. This is just the part A of it. Then after that, we also need to come back to, that is the hero new content. Then we have the hero container content. So hero container content. The hero container content is going to have a background var gradient light. Align and center. Then we have the hero container content left. Hero container content left position relative. Then I will give it a width of 60%. A width of 60%. I'm talking about this particular left side. Let me give it background so that you can see it red. So I'm talking about the left side that's going to have a position of 60, a width of 60% rather. I'm talking about the left side. It's going to have a width of 60%. So now I'll give it a padding left 200 pixels. Then I will now give it a Z index of 90. So let me remove my background. Don't need the background anymore. After that, we have the hero container content left h5. We have h5 in that document. The font size is going to be var small big. Then we have a margin, because I don't want it to be too big. I don't want margin. The margin that is there, I don't want it, so I'll give it a margin of 40 pixels minus 40 pixels so that it can be reduced. Letter spacing of 40%. Let me use data spacing of 30% and margin of 35. So I think that one is okay. Let me see if it's aligned with what you have. No, the margin is supposed to be let's use 40 now, because when we adjust the second one, I don't know, it will still have effect. So let's go to the h1 hero container content left h1. Now the h1 now is going to have the cursor pointer. It's going to have a cursor pointer. Font size is going to be var h1. It's going to be h1. Then we have the color is going to be var dark chocolate. So don't forget that we have an hover effect here when the Kazim is being over, so that it will work, but we have not done that yet. So let's do the effect on over. So sorry. So before we do the over, when we come back to our HTML here, we have span. We put that Kazim inside span. So we are going to define the span hero container content left h1 span. Then under the span, we are going to have color var black. Then transition is going to be var transition, so that it will be, when it will be click, it will be transition. Sorry. Hero, not error. Hero container. Okay. So this particular span also, we have over for it. Now over effect, when it is being over, let us spacing 5 pieces. Color should change to light chocolate. That's when it's being over. The color should change to light chocolate. So we have done that. We have effect all the necessary corrections. After we have done all of those things, we move straight to the test, to the hero container content left test. At the test now, we can use the font size of var. Because I have defined all the font size, so I know each of the font, I know them small, big. I don't want it to be too big and I don't want it to be too small. Margin top will be minus 40 pieces because I don't want spaces. I don't want the space at the bottom. Then after that, font family is the secondary. That's what we are using before. Then padding bottom with 30 pieces. Let me just remove this font family because that's what I'm using before. So I've done that now. Then we move straight to our button. That one has been defined for us already because I have done the design of this button at the reset. So that's why I don't have to do any effect on the button here. So let me now come straight to the second side, which is the hero container right. Let me copy the hero container right. Let me start designing it here. We have a cursor, it should be pointer. That's what we have. I'm using this now. This is what we are designing now, this particular one. So we have the cursor to be pointer and all of those things. So now let's start designing them. The cursor will be pointer, the width will be 50%, the background should be a gradient color that has been defined. Okay, margin 100 pieces. Then border radius should be 40%, 40%. That is for the box. Margin should be 50%, 0%, 5%, 0%. Sorry, I think the margin will be at the second one. Let me just use padding 0% here. Okay, so now I've now defined the hero image .hero img, and we have border radius, the same thing at the top, 40%, 40%. Then here I will now have margin 50%. Margin will be 50%, 0%, 5%, 0%. Okay, do we have what we have here? No. So this one is like showing a little bit. So let's try and adjust that. Let's adjust our margin to be 30%, 50%, 0%. So we are still going to adjust our margin to -4%, -5%. So that is what we want to achieve. So it depends on your own. You may adjust it and it gives you another size. So I think it depends on the screen size sometimes before the margin can work. It depends sometimes with the screen size. So now what I just do here is that I use hero container content right img. I place it on mask width of auto, mask height of auto. So I make both of them auto. So that is that on the hero section. I think we have done that. We have achieved the hero section of the page. Let's now move to the about us section. Let's see what we have with about us. Image at the right, image at the left, then text at the right. So let's do that one also quickly. Let me come back here and copy the let me copy this one first. About section design start here. So now I will come here and copy the about section. We have the about container. Okay, that one is easy for me to understand. About container, we have the about container. Inside that container we have background. We make use of gradient, make use of the gradient background. Then we have display flex. It will be display flex. Then align item center. Then after that, we justify the content center. This thing is not reflect. Sorry. Image container. So you can see now that we have the image at the left, we have the text at the right, but the image is too big than the one we have here. So we are going to do the adjustment on the image. So after that, we come straight to dot about container left. That is where our image is. We have a margin right of 30 pixels, width of 50%, so that the image will not be that big. So we can give it a margin bottom of -5 pixels because it's showing at the bottom. Okay, we have achieved that. We'll come back to the image that is showing. We'll come back and adjust that. Let's continue adjusting the text. Dot about container right. Let's adjust that one also. That one we have a width of 50%. Okay, so that both of them we have a 50% width. The padding for that one we can make it a 50 pixels. So I think the image is a little bit big than before now. So having done that, let's start designing the H1, all of the text that we have here. So we are going to have the about container right H1. The H1 is going to have a color bar white. Let's make use of white color. Then it's going to have a font size. Let's make use of H1. Then after that, it's going to have a word spacing of 20 pixels. Then after that, it's going to have a letter spacing of 3 pixels. That is what you are having here. It's the same thing as this. So let's move straight to the paragraph. The paragraph is going to have a color light white. It's going to have the light white color. Font size should be small but not too small. Then we use small big. Font family should be primary because I don't want it to be too bold. Margin top will be -40 pixels. I don't want it to be I don't want so much of space. Text align should be justified. I want it to be filled. Padding right will be 50 pieces. Then margin bottom, let me give it 40 pieces. After that, we move straight to my skills. I think that is the next one we need to design. That is H2. That is H2. Let me check it here. That is our H2. The H2 now is going to have the color of white. It's going to have the color of white. Font family, tertiary. Font size is going to be we have a font that I call big. Then letter space is going to be 3 pieces. I think we have achieved that now. So this is where I'm saying now. This is where we are going. We need to start designing the box. We have the main box here, which I call about skill box. About skill box. We have the about skill box, and this about skill box, I will display it flex. So you can see that when I display it flex now, it has positioned all the text to be at the same side, like this one. So that is the work of that about skill box. Display flex. My text align is going to be center. So now, after I've done that, I've now come to the left box. I will have the about skill box left. Sorry. The about skill box left now. Now we have a width of 50, so that both of them can have a 50% width. You can see that there is a space now. The margin right is going to be 40 pieces. The reason for that margin right is this. Let me give it a background white. You can see that there is no space, but after the margin there is a space. So but we don't need this background, so let's remove it. Then after that, I will now have my skill box container. The skill box container is going to have a width of 100%. Width, what is it now? 100%. That is my skill box container. It's going to have a width of 100%. So now after that, I have another container that we define inside, which is skill box item. The skill box item is going to have a font family of tertiary. Don't forget this skill box item. We have a skill box item here. This particular one, skill box item. We have a skill box container. Inside the skill box container, we have a skill box item and skill box code. So the skill box item, we have a font family of tertiary, because we use the tertiary font, not the primary, not the secondary. Then after that, we give it a color of light white. Okay. After the color, so we display it flex. Okay. Justify the content to be space between. Then the margin bottom, you can remove minus 15 pieces, so that this thing will be, the box will be able to flow at the bottom very well. there won't be too much space like this. There won't be too much space from the box and the test. There won't be too much space. Don't worry, box will still be at the middle. We have already do the design. We have already do the test already. This skill box school is what we are going to design now. The skill box school is what we are going to design to adjust the test. But before that, let's adjust the H3 of the skill box item. The H3 is going to be font family of primary. The width is going to be 50%. That is the H3. Then the test align is going to be right. So that is this one. That is this particular one you are seeing here, so that it can be different from that one. Now let's come to the scroll. Here we have the content. The content will be empty. We give it a background of white. Don't worry, nothing is showing. Border radius of 50 pixels. Don't worry, everything is not showing before. Position, relative, margin bottom 15 pixels. You can see that there is a space now. Width is going to be 100%. So after that, since nothing is showing, we only design the box frame. That's what we do. We only design the box frame there. So we are going to come down to our box now, which is this one, skill box scroll. We are going to come down to the skill box scroll design now. Then we are going to have our skill box scroll design, content, nothing. Also we are going to give that background color of dim cream. We have the dim cream also that has been designed. Then we are going to give it a padding of 7 pixels. Border radius to be 50 pixels. Now all these design, now this is what we are going to be doing them. All this design that you are seeing, that all these spaces that you are seeing here, this is where we are going to start designing them. What we are going to do now is this. When you check our code here, we have all of these things. We give them all these scroll effect, all these scroll. We give them scroll 1, scroll 2, scroll 3, scroll 4, scroll 5, scroll 6. So we have another class for them, that is scroll. So we come back to our CSS. We now pick the one that have the same thing. I think scroll 1 and scroll 5 have the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they have 85. So what we are going to do is now to come to our scroll 1 and scroll 5. Width is going to be 85%. You can see that one has adjusted. Then the same thing, we come to scroll 2. I think that one only have 95. We give that one width 95. Same thing to scroll 3, scroll 6. Scroll 3 and scroll 6 has width of 90%. Then the last one, which is scroll 4, that will have width of 75%. So I think we are through with that. This button, we have done that one before, so we have give it the button style. So let me quickly brush through the button. Let's see the style here. Let's come back to our reset. You can see that I have a button design. I've already give the button a design, font size, color, width, all of those things. We have done all these settings in our button. I do the over effect also. I design a button to my taste. From here I just call out the class into each of the buttons so that it will be useful. So that is why the button is giving me this design on its own. So having done that, we have done the home, we have done the about us. Let's move straight to the section. Let us move to the expert section. To the expert section. So to the expert area. In this expert area, I want to memorize all of these things and start designing them. We have the expertise container, we have the expertise box area top, we have the box area box 1, box area box 2, box area box 3, box 2 also. Okay, so let's come back to our CSS. Let me copy this. Now, from the expert area section now, the first one we have is the expertise container, font family primary, background, let's make use of dim cream. Then we have the display flex. Then the flex directions is going to be column. Then align items into the center. Justify content is going to be center. Then the padding is going to be 200 pieces, 20 pieces. Let's go back and check. So that is what we are having here. That is what we are having here. Don't worry, this curve, I'm still going to tell you how we achieve the curve. I'm still going to tell you how we achieve the curve. So I have done all of those things and they reset already. But I will tell you how we do that. So we are having the design here now. Let's start turning them to other things that we want it to look like. Then after this one, we have the expertise container H1. The H1 is going to have a font family of secondary. The font family of secondary, color var black. Let me use a color var black. Letter spacing of 2 pixels. Word spacing of 10 pieces. Font size, let me use a var bigger font. Do we have it? Yes, achieved. Then after that, we have the next one, which is H6 container H6. We have the color. We make use of black also in this color. We make use of black also. After the color black, I think the font size should be small big. Then after that, margin top should be -40 pieces because there is space. There's no space, rather font family also should be secondary. Word spacing should be 5 pixels. Then letter spacing should be 2 pieces. Let's see now. Okay. That one also is achievable. So after this, we are moving straight to the expert box. The box we have here, this particular box. This box, expert box, that's what we are moving straight to now.
don't forget that this one, the way this is the final result, the way it's looking like is different from the way this one is looking like. So let's turn this one also to the final result. So the first thing we are going to do are the expert box with that. Let's give it our expert box. Let's display it flex. That is the first thing. Fine. We have displayed flex. Now the flex direction is going to be column, and the margin is going to be 0 pixels, 100 pixels. So now we now come to the expert. Is it expert? Let me see what we have there now. Box area. We come to the box area. Come to the box area. We display that one flex. We display the box area flex. Sorry, I think I am trying to have mistake something here. Oh, we have the box area top. The box area top rather. Box area top. After the expert box, we need to define the box area top. Display flex. Okay. So now let me remove this one first so that I can see what I'm doing. Display flex. After display flex, then let me use margin to be 0 pixels and 100 pixels. Then the next thing is that we come straight to the box area where we want to define before. We display that one also flex. Display flex. Then the flex direction is going to be column. We align the item center. Then we justify the content center. Background is going to be white. I'll use var white. That is the background. Our margin is going to be 10 pixels. Then position relative. Then we have the box area H3. The text area is going to be color var black. Color var black. Font family secondary. Text align center. Let's align the text to center. The text align will be center. Font size bigger. Okay. Line height is going to be 50 pixels. The line height is going to be 50 pixels. Padding top is going to be 40 pixels. Let me see. Do we have it? I think it's going in line as planned. Then after that we have the image. Let's try and adjust the box area image to have a width of 100% so that it can fill the whole container. After that, the box area paragraph, we have a color of var light chocolate. Var light chocolate. Font family is going to be secondary. Text align is going to be center, like we have it at the second one. Font size, let's make it so smaller. The margin is going to be minus 30 pixels because this margin from top to bottom is too big. 40 pixels left and right, and 50 pixels bottom. I think with this we have achieved some of the things we want to achieve. We have achieved what we want to achieve. So let's move straight to the over effect. The over effect of the box. But before that, let's try and do, because we have two different box. But box 1, we have box 1 and box 2. So this is box 1 here. You can see some have box 1, this one is box 1, some have box 2, some have box 1, some have box 2. So that is how we achieve the different color here. Some have gradient color, this one have gradient, this one also have white, gradient. So now let's achieve that. So how do we achieve that here? So how do we achieve that? So what we are going to do is to come back to our CSS. At the box 1, that will be giving background of gradient light. Why? When it is over the box background, then transition is going to be var transition, so that when it is over the box 1 over, it's going to give us background var white. So this is it. When we click on it, it's going to give us background white when we click on it. So now the same thing we are going to do to the button 2 dot box 2 rather. Now it's going to have a background var white, transition is going to be var so when it is over, it's going to have a background gradient. So with this now we have achieved this particular aspect. So that is everything on the, we are through from the home, about us, services section. So the second video will start from portfolio, contact and all other things that we need to do.